Sean "Sugar" O'Malley is one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. From his highlights, personality, and charisma, there's no shortage of the it factor, as Dana White calls it. The Sugar Show currently has a huge following across his social media platforms with over 1.5 million followers on Instagram and 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. He also streams on Twitch, playing COD as well as other FPS games from time to time, and here he also has a very strong following. So why all the hype for a fighter not even ranked in the top 15 of the UFC bantamweight division? Watch until the end to see his fight highlights that might answer that question for you. Now let's get into this fighter who is destined for greatness and shows that he shines even greater in the spotlight. Number 1. His incredible striking and skill set. It's simply fun watching Sean in the octagon due to how fluid he moves and the way he mixes up his attacks. Another aspect to consider is that he's 5'11", making him 4 inches taller than the average height in the bantamweight division. His stand-up game is all that scarier when you consider this and the fact that he's wicked fast. The current champion, Petr Yan, stands at an average 5'7 inches. Sean can mix it up with various punching combinations and leg kicks, but also has that high-level striking technique that includes fading and switching stances. He does this with ease and uses it to add another level to his game. According to the UFC data, he lands at a staggering rate of 50% of his overall striking attempts. When you're in the ring with someone like the Sugar Show, you better be ready not to bite on any feints or you might be on the receiving end of one of his walk-off knockouts. Talking about getting knocked out, that's what Sean is looking for in each of his fights and what makes him entertaining. He is out looking for spectacular, he is looking for that finish each time and to try to knock your lights out. And most of the time, it happens. Sean has a professional record of 13 wins and 1 loss. A loss that he's not willing to admit is an actual L. Either way, with or without the loss on his record, it's clear that his fights are always fun to watch. Number 2. The backstory to getting into the UFC. Every time you hear of someone dropping out of high school, you don't tend to think that they'll end up being a star UFC fighter. However, that was the case for O'Malley when he was tired of wasting his time in his sophomore year of high school and decided to start doing something else. Few people would have had the guts to make that call at such a young age. Sean has said before his fight at UFC 222 that he thought high school was pointless and that he didn't like what they were learning. That's another point proven correctly by him, as his post on social media shows him constantly learning the fight game and getting better. Finding that fire, that passion, can jumpstart your career if you have thought it out like he did. This shows that going after your dream is obtainable and shows young fighters all over the world that there's a way. It also helped that during the Dana White's Contender series, he knocked out his opponent in devastating fashion. Check it out. Now tell me you didn't see potential for this fighter after that knockout. You even had Snoop Dogg going crazy there. Number 3. His charisma. Many fighters enjoy the fight, but hate everything else surrounding it, such as the interviews, media days, and a pre-fight event. If you spend all your time training and honing your skill set, it makes sense that at the end of the day you want to show it off in the octagon and not in front of a mic. Some fighters prefer to focus on their craft, but here's where Sean is different, as he's a natural with the camera and engaging people, whether that happens during an interview session or when he's on his podcast on YouTube. Engaging his fans through his YouTube is one of the ways that allows him to share knowledge with us, but also allows us to understand his mindset, drive, and sacrifices as a fighter. We also get a sneak peek inside the type of workout and training Sean is doing on a day in and day out basis. Many MMA fighters would prefer to keep things under wraps, but with O'Malley, he's okay sharing it with his fans, and that's why they love him. Number 4. Branching out into other things. Stepping outside of the fighting world, Sean has started a Twitch channel and streams live to thousands of watchers. This shows that he's slowly breaking out of the box of mixed martial arts entertainment and moving onto other things. It also goes back to his personality and how many people don't watch him just because of his fighting skills. Recently, his Instagram post showed him taking pictures with huge names in the music and internet world. Stars like Jack Harlow and Justin Bieber hung out with Sean during the Triller event where Ben Askren faced off against Jake Paul. When you have these celebrity names recognizing the Sugar Show, you know it's not just a fad. Sean's roots are still in the fighting world, and although he's a bigger draw than most bantamweights, he wants to prove himself and the world that he's capable of getting to the top of the division. Recently, he's called out big names such as Dominic Cruz, Petr Yan, and Pedro Munoz. These are all fighters that are considered in the top 5, and I'm not sure he's ready for that level of competition just yet. What's clear is that Sean has continued to grow both in his fame outside the ring but also in his mixed martial arts experience. At only 26 years of age, he has the making of a breakout star, one that could rival that of Jorge Masvidal and Conor McGregor. In my opinion, if he's able to win the bantamweight title, he'll be the most talked about UFC fighter on the planet. What do you think? Does it make sense that Sean has the current level of fame and hype? Do you think that he's able to compete with the top level fighters in this division? Or is this all show and what we see as a mediocre fighter with great charisma? Let us know in the comments below, and now enjoy these highlights.